Welcome back to ABC-7 at 4. I'm Mark Ross. Well, September is Healthy Aging Month, which is a time to learn how you can stay healthy as you age. ABC-7's medical contributor, Dr. Ogechika Alozie with Sunset West Health, is here to share some tips. Doctor, a relative of mine once told me it's okay to get older, just don't get old. So, a lot of this comes down to our brain. So talk about Alzheimer's and dementia. What are the statistics?
So I think one of the things people sort of convolute these things together, right? They're not always the same. Dementias are the overarching, and Alzheimer's is a piece of that can lead to dementia. There's 6 million people in the United States that are living with Alzheimer's. What's remarkable about that number is how many people are caretakers, right? I know you're a caretaker. I've been a caretaker to my parent in the past, and it actually has a financial toll, about $340 billion a year. The sad thing is that 1 in 3 seniors dies of Alzheimer's, and to put that in context, that's more than breast and prostate cancer. It's one of those gender things that's also really interesting. A lot of times the things we talk about, heart disease, cancer, they happen more in men. This actually happens more in women.
And what else can you tell us about Alzheimer's?
Well, I think another thing about it is that we're seeing a lot of diseases. We talk about cancer, we talk about heart disease. Those are going down over the years. Alzheimer's is going up. It may be because the baby boomer generation, the largest population center up until recently, is getting older. That may be a part of it. The cost of care is also going up. And one of the things is we talk so much about all these other things. We don't talk about health care in terms of the brain. We talk about mental health and depression and suicidality, but not necessarily how do you make your brain stronger and how do you talk to your physician or clinician about it.
And as you just said, Alzheimer's is the most common form of dementia.
Exactly. And so if you think of that sort of big bucket as dementia, Alzheimer's takes about 60% of that. And it's progressive. We're not exactly sure why it happens. There's some talk about plaques, and we'll talk about that when we talk about treatment. But typically it's in people as they get older, and specifically above 65 years old.
And the good news, I guess, Alzheimer's is not a sure thing.
Yeah, it doesn't mean because you get older that you must have Alzheimer's or even that you must have dementia. Remember, it's okay to forget things. I mean, I'm 50-ish and I forget things all the time, right? I'm lucky that I don't have car keys anymore because of what I drive. But again, it's a little bit different if you're forgetting things all the time. That should be short-term memory and some long-term memory.
So what are the signs to watch for?
I think the biggest thing, if you have a parent or somebody that you're taking care of, is those memory loss is one thing, but personality changes is different. People that were happy-go-lucky and jovial suddenly becoming angry. People that were outgoing and extroverted suddenly becoming introverted. A lot harder if you've always had a quiet parent that didn't really talk a lot, because it's hard to see those personality changes. But again, as it progresses, their handwriting can change. They can develop different patterns in their day, going for random walks or drinking certain things, and those are things you should watch out for.
Now, we know there's no cure for Alzheimer's, but there is some good news.
Yeah, one of the good things that we'll talk about specifically is 2 medications. There's some controversy about them, but there are medications to help, and they're really the 2 medications that have come on for the first time in over 20 years.
All right, let's talk about the common treatments for Alzheimer's first of all.
Yes, so the sort of standard treatments that we've had for the last 20 to 30 years are what's on the screen. I'm not going to run into all of them, but again, I think the key thing is once this happens, talk to your clinician about the progression of medications. I really want to get to the future treatments and the monoclonal antibodies.
Yeah, let's talk about the 2 new drugs that are here to help.
Yeah, so they're a mouthful. It's Alzheimer and Leqembi, right? And these are 2 new drugs that have recently been approved by the Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, because they seem to improve cognitive ability, and one of them, Aduhelm, actually reduces the plaques. There's some controversy because even though the FDA has approved them, the guidance boards that give recommendations to the FDA said, hey, pump the brakes. Where I look at this is, think about this as the old school cell phones. The brick, these are the bricks. We're going to get better cell phones down the line as this technology improves.
And as we mentioned going into the break, you have 10 tips for healthy aging.
Yeah, the ones I'll focus on are specifically learning new things and getting a memory screening. And the biggest thing that we've seen that helps people, stay connected. Don't be isolated. Socializing is important. Reading, memory games, keeping active from a brain standpoint.
All right, let's look quickly at the local resources that are available for folks to get some help.
Yeah, so I put a number of them on the screen. These are a host of neurologists, obviously Texas Tech, some of the other organizations out there have them. I'm going to call attention to interim healthcare. if you have a loved one or somebody that you're taking care of that needs brain help, they specifically work with dementia and dementia patients.
And we want to close out today by mentioning that the Alzheimer's Association has an annual walk to raise funds and awareness. It is happening November 11th at the El Paso Zoo, and you can go to alz.org to get more information about the Walk to End Alzheimer's. ABC-7 medical contributor Dr. Ogechika Alozie, I thank you, sir.
Thank you. That was using my brain.